That's great. Thank you very much, Chair. And yeah, very much to your point there, the reform of the Leaving Cert. I think one point as well would be the data that you're capturing would be the dropouts at first year. We're always aware that there's a large number of dropouts, I suppose, at third level. And I suppose it's young people just not exactly sure about the courses they're taking. And as you say, they're having the basis to go forward, So I suppose that would really inform how we look at FET and building up that apprenticeship earn and learn sector as well. Just on a couple of other points, just on the research side as well, that was just talked about there. I suppose to my mind, its societal impact is extremely important of the research that we're funding. And I think that's come across through the research prioritisation in the last number of years. And I think our researchers are doing an excellent job in terms of describing the impact to society of the research that they conduct. And even in the way that they're put together their research now. In the last decade or so, there's been a real focus on how you look at the voice of the user and how you put together your research plan. And I think researchers have really looked at, the fact that we're not in ivory towers anymore, hidden behind university walls where our research has no impact. So I think our researchers are first and foremost out there in terms of designing their research to have impact from the very get-go. And I just think that that's really crucial. And it just shows that what we're funding has impact. I suppose just my questions maybe just would relate. I might have one or two just for Tim, just on the HEA side. And my apologies for earlier. Honestly, the laptop overheated and literally shut down. So yeah, I think I could get some research and innovation about how to keep these things cool. But anyway, I'll put that in for the AI and robotics and engineering section. But if I could just ask Tim, just in relation to the HEA, just in relation to the sorry, I've lost my train of thought now, but it was, I think, around the budget that you had mentioned. Oh yeah, the resources. You just mentioned about having more resources, that you're widening the remit of the data and so on that you'll be able to gather. Can I ask you just in terms of the skill set that you have in the HEA at the moment, how you would need to broaden that? I suppose my other question would be that we would love to see the HEA is also taking on apprentices, because I suppose we're looking at public sector organisations being able to take on apprentices and train people up. And just, I suppose, I don't know if you can note, in terms of the amount of resources that you have at the moment in the HEA, or if you're able to share that at the moment. Then I suppose the other question maybe is for Ms. Kenny as well, was along the lines of the performance framework. I suppose the question I have relates more so to the resources that we have in our universities. So we're always trying to encourage, and I know universities try to encourage, but it's very difficult with such a heavy teaching load and the high student numbers in courses and the coursework that's involved. But we're always trying to encourage our lecturers to take on more research. So I suppose in this performance framework, can I just ask, is there anything that would point here towards how we support HEIs to, encourage them doing more research? So in other words, our lecturers and professors, and building those research teams. And in particular, I know the TUs would have done a mammoth amount of work for the applications that they submitted to increase the amount of research performing staff in terms of, at PhD level, but also that they're looking at supporting them and taking on more research. So I suppose just a quick question, and you may not be able to go into that again, but just if you had any thoughts around that. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Senator. In response to the first question, we are in constant conversation with our parent department about resources, and so maybe we can provide you some information in the background about that. To the general point, yes, we are we are reasonably resourced, but as we expand into new areas of endeavour, there is a requirement for increasing specialisation and specialist resources. So, for example, in terms of data analytics and so on, we have a very capable statistics section. I just can't pronounce it very well. But in terms of of building that out and increased resources, that's perhaps one of the challenges. But again, we might come back to you separately about that offline. On the second question, in respect of the technological universities and the expanding research performance there, we are seeing a rapid increase in the outputs and in the staff profile of the former institutes, now technological universities. So more people with PhDs, and by virtue of having more staff with PhDs, they then want to use that PhD, because otherwise why would you have one, in terms of supervising students and progressing their disciplines, engaging with enterprise in their regions and so on. And the supporting infrastructure for that has been a bit slow to catch up. But we have been lucky in that we have an allocation from government and from the department in terms of the Technological University Transformation Fund that's starting to put in place some of those scaffolding and resources round about this research endeavour. So they are challenged, as we all are, to build that build that in and put it in place. But as you said, in the applications, there's vast detail around about strategies for research and what they want to do and what their ambition is, and they need to be supported to achieve that ambition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Kenny, yes?
Yes, yeah, just on the question there on research again, Senator, just to say that the general scheme intrinsically is bringing research into that, and the HEA's powers, for instance, in relation to governance and oversight, apply to research activity as well. So it's putting parity of treatment on educational provision and research activity. But with regard to performance frameworks and performance agreements, the flexibility is there for institutions that can prioritise research.
And obviously, I'm presuming the career profile and structure and advancement within universities, that's taken into account. In other words, work done on research will be of equal value. I know that that should be, I suppose, along with the number of publications and so on, but that we're looking at that as being something in order to progress would be crucial, I think.